Welcome to What is Truth, brought to you by the Southern New Mexico Church of God in Las Cruces, New Mexico. What is Truth is a weekly program which seeks to focus our attention on the truth of God's Word. Now, with this week's lesson, here's Pastor Meyer Stahl.
Welcome to the program. I'm Meyer Stahl, the pastor of the Southern New Mexico Church of God, bringing you the program, What is Truth? Well, today's subject is an unusual subject. It's, did God have anything to do with the outcome of the Revolutionary War? Well, God will intervene when it suits His purpose. So we're going to look at that question and, of course, answer it. But before we get started, we have two very important booklets that we want to share with you today. The first booklet is, Why Were You Born? And it says at the bottom of the booklet, it said, do you really know why you were born? Do you realize God has a purpose being worked out? Most fail to understand that purpose. Read this booklet, you will be surprised. And the second booklet is, Just What Do You Mean Born Again? And at the bottom of this booklet it says, don't be too sure you know. Many religious people talk about being born again. I hear it all the time. People say, are you born again? And I tell them, not yet. Yet they don't really know what Christ meant by those words. The truth is surprising, startling, here made so plain you will understand. Okay, I was looking for my pen. My red pen seems to have disappeared. But we're going to look now at the Epoch Times, November 18th, 2020. I have a copy of it here in front of me. Here's my pen. In the Epoch Times, it says a heading, George Washington's vision offers hope in dark times. George Washington's vision offers hope in dark times. And I'll read a little bit and then I'll explain. In the winter of 1777 and 78, our country was in the midst of the Revolutionary War, and George Washington and his troops were enduring bitter hardship at Valley Forge. The men were dying from the lack of food and clothes. They were wearing summer clothes, and morale was low. Despite the difficulties, George Washington stayed with his men throughout, while other officers went on furlough to visit family. His steady leadership brought the army through the winter. There is a story retold by a soldier and published in the National Tribune newspaper later that year. That's the only place you can find it, the National Tribune newspaper. During this time, Washington had a vision of the future of America. We're going to stop there, and I'll do some explaining. The British were in Philadelphia. Valley Forge was 21 miles away, and General Howe was the general in Philadelphia, and he wrote to King George in England that at the end of winter, when spring came, he would go to Valley Forge and he would mop up Washington and his army. The war would be over. He would be coming back. Well, there's a lot that happened during that winter. And let's go back to the article. And George Washington had a vision. And you could search online for George Washington's vision, or see ushistory.org/Valley Forge/Washington/vision.html. The vision came one day when Washington was alone. An luminous being, beautiful and angelic, appeared in his tent. Now that's got to be unusual. And he gazed at her. And Washington felt as though he was dying or dissolving. Washington heard a voice saying, "Son of the Republic, look and learn," and saw spread before him Europe, Asia, Africa, and America. Now we have a picture of that. If you're watching this on TV, you'll see a picture of Europe, Asia, Africa, and America. And here's George Washington with his troops. And then a shadowy angel, there it is, there's the picture. Then a shadowy angel appeared over the ocean between America and Europe. The angel dipped water and sprinkled some over Europe and some over America, whereupon murky clouds formed over these countries. The clouds met together over the Atlantic, then all moved to cover America. There was lightning, and Washington, there's the picture there for those who are watching the video. There was lightning, and Washington heard groans and cries of his countrymen. Then the angel dipped and sprinkled more water on America, and the cloud was pulled back into the ocean, where it disappeared among the waves. And Washington saw towns and cities spring up all across America. This is the first prophecy. We're stopping here. This is the first prophecy. He saw towns and cities springing up all over America. Now, only the East Coast had the colonies, and it was very sparsely inhabited. And he saw this vision of all these towns and villages. Okay, now, let's go to the second one. Again, the mysterious voice spoke, "Son of the Republic, the end of the century comes. Come and learn." And Washington saw the dark angel look southward, and a specter from Africa approach, flitting over towns and cities. Then people began to arm themselves and battle against each other. That's the second vision. The second vision was the Civil War. That's a prophecy of the Civil War. What does Africa have to do with it? Well, that's where the slaves came from. All the slaves came from Africa, and then finally the Civil War came to free the slaves. And that's prophecy number 2. That's almost 100 years later. As the fighting raged, a bright angel appeared, carrying the American flag and wearing a crown of light that bore the words Union. The angel planted the flag and said, "Remember, you are brethren." And instantly the fighting stopped. Well, they were brethren. People from the south, people from the north, they're Americans. and they were fighting each other, and finally the Civil War ended and the slaves were freed, which was a good thing. So that was the second vision. Then a third time the voice spoke, "Son of the Republic, look and learn." And Washington saw the shadowy angels blow 3 blasts of a trumpet and sprinkle water on Europe, Asia, and Africa. Thick black clouds formed over these countries, and there gleamed a dark red light, by which I saw hordes of armed men, who, moving with the cloud, marched by land and sailed by sea to America. The armies devastated the land. We'll stop there for a moment. This has to be a future event that has not yet happened yet, that will happen. So it's a future event. It's a future prophecy. Now let's read again. Then the voice said, "Son of the Republic, look and learn." And the shadowy angel again blew the trumpet. Instantly, a light as of 1,000 suns shone down from above me and pierced and broke into fragments the dark cloud which enveloped America. And the bright angel with a crown and flag descended with legions of white spirits, who joined the nearly defeated Americans, giving them new strength to fight. So the outcome was victory. So we are going to be, we'll stop there. We're going to be invaded eventually. We are fighting against ourselves. There's civil war happening today. And even though we're going to be invaded by overseas armies, God is going to rescue us at the last moment. That's the way God works. He works at the last moment. So we're going to go to the Bible now. We're going to go to Exodus chapter 14 and verse 8. So let's read from the Bible. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued after the children of Israel, and the children of Israel went out with a high hand. And the Egyptians pursued after them, and all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh and his horsemen and his army overtook them, encamping by the sea beside Pi-Hahiroth before Baal-Zephon. So everybody's by the Red Sea. And when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them, and they were sore afraid. And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord. And they said unto Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, have you taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore have you dealt with us to carry us forth out of Egypt? Is this not the word that we did tell you in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than we should die in the wilderness. Now we're going to stop there. We're going to take a short break. Please don't go away. We have so much more. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Ray Bamberg with Here on Earth, I would like to invite you for a free hearing evaluation to our office. We've been here in southern New Mexico for 34 years helping people hear better.
Do you suffer from rashes, dryness, flakiness, and thickness to the skin? 3A Research is conducting a trial of an investigational drug on plaque psoriasis. Subjects must be 18 years of age or older. This is an 8-week study. We will compensate you for your time and travel up to $225.
Enrolling participants now in Las Cruces. Contact our office at 575-288-1646 or visit our Facebook page at 3A Research or our website 3asites.com.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Welcome back to the program. In case you tuned in late, our topic today is, did God have anything to do with the outcome of the Revolutionary War? When it suits God's purpose, He will intervene in human affairs. So our question today is, did God have anything to do with the outcome of the Revolutionary War? If you tuned in late, you could catch us on YouTube. You could watch the program over again on YouTube. All you have to do is type in "What is Truth" with Meyer, Stahl. You can watch any number of 500 various topics. Pick out the one you want to watch it. If you have any questions, you could always call me or email me, and I'd be happy to talk to you. I'd be happy to answer you. Our phone number is area code 575-650-7359. And my email is meyerstahl@gmail.com. So you're welcome to email me or call, and we'd be happy to send these booklets. They're free, absolutely free. They're important that you understand them. It would only take you about 10 to 15 minutes to read each booklet, and read them along with your Bible. Whenever you're reading any religious literature, always read it along with your Bible to make sure it's biblically correct. And now let's go back to this article. It's called "George Washington's Vision Offers Hope in Dark Times." And here the angel is speaking again. And the mysterious voice told Washington, "Son of the Republic, what you have seen is thus interpreted. 3 great perils will come upon the Republic. 3 great perils will come upon the Republic. The most fearful is the third. But in this greatest conflict, the whole world united shall not prevail against her. Let every child of the Republic learn to live for his God, his land, and the Union." And the 3 great perils that the United States of America, we'll stop there. The 3 great perils that the United States of America faced was World War I, when some 8 million people died. World War II, when some 52 million people died. And World War III hasn't come yet, but the Bible predicts up to 50% of the world's population will die. Well, it's a nuclear war. These crazies and the various crazy people like North Korea, Iran, China, are developing nuclear weapons. What do you think they're going to do with the nuclear weapons? They're going to use them and wipe out billions, not millions, billions with a B, billions of people are going to be wiped out. There's coming a great tribulation predicted by Jesus Christ in Matthew chapter 24. And he says there won't be anything like it before or like it afterward. It'll be terrible, terrible tribulation coming upon this world. Let's go back. Let's go back to the Bible now. And let's look at 2 Chronicles chapter 20, and we'll look here in verse 1. 2 Chronicles 20, verse 1. And here it says, "And it came to pass after this also that the children of Moab and the children of Ammon, and with them besides the Ammonites, came against Jehoshaphat to battle. And there came some that told Jehoshaphat, saying, There comes a great multitude against you from beyond the sea on this side of Syria, and behold, they be in Hazaz Tamar, which is En Gedi. And Jehoshaphat feared, and set himself to seek the Lord, and proclaim a fast throughout all Judah." And we'll drop down to verse 10. And he's telling God, he says, "And now, behold, the children of Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir, whom you would not let Israel invade, when they came out of the land of Egypt, but they turned from them and destroyed them not. Behold, I say, how they reward us to come to cast us out of our possession, which you have given us to inherit." So Jehoshaphat realized, we'll stop there, realized that there was going to be a war, and there's a multitude of people to fight him. He wasn't able to overcome them. What did he do? He turned to God. Let's pick it up in verse 17. Verse 17. God is saying to Jehoshaphat, he's saying, you shall not need to fight in this battle. Set yourselves, stand you still, and see the salvation of the Lord with you. O Judah and Jerusalem, fear not, nor be dismayed. Tomorrow go out against them, for the Lord will be with you. Wow. So God is going to rescue them at the last moment. And Jehoshaphat bowed his head with his face to the ground, and all Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem fell before the Lord, worshiping the Lord. And verse 20. And they rose early in the morning and went forth into the wilderness of Tekoa. And as they went forth, Jehoshaphat stood and said, Hear me, O Judah, and you inhabitants of Jerusalem. Believe in the Lord your God, so shall you be established. Believe his prophets, so shall you prosper. And verse 23. For the children of Ammon and Moab stood up against the inhabitants of Mount Seir, utterly to slay and destroy them. And when they had made an end of the inhabitants of Seir, everyone helped to destroy another. So they fought against each other. And when Judah came toward the watchtower in the wilderness, they looked into the multitude, and behold, there were dead bodies fallen to earth, and none escaped. None escaped. Wow. God's in charge, is he not? Yes, he is. He certainly is. So God will rescue you at the last moment. And it seems like that's the way he goes. That's his way. And Zechariah chapter 14. And it says here, behold, the day of the Lord comes, and your spoil shall be divided in the midst of you. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half the city shall go forth into captivity, and the rest of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst toward the east, and toward the west there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. And these people are going to be crushed in this because of the mountain. Let's go back to the story of George Washington here. There's an excellent conclusion here. And so there are two perils which have seemingly come to pass and become overcome. And that was World War I and World War II. And we're facing now World War III. I wrote a book called World War III Coming Soon. Now, I wrote it several years ago. I'm going to rewrite it because some of these prophecies are starting to come about. And here's the book. It's called World War III Coming Soon. So I'll let you know when I'm ready to release it. It's amazing how God works with people. And God saved George Washington at the last moment. George Washington sailed across the Delaware on Christmas Eve that year and destroyed the Hessian army at Trenton and took their weapons, took their ammunition, their cannons, and from then on, George Washington and his men were victorious in almost all the battles until finally we got our independence from England. So it's an amazing story how God waits at the very last moment when it looks like there's going to be no hope, and yet there is hope, and we win at the end. Well, until next time, this is Meyer, Stahl of the Southern New Mexico Church of God saying goodbye, my friends.
You have been listening to What is Truth with Pastor Meyer Stahl of the Southern New Mexico Church of God located in Las Cruces, New Mexico. For copies of today's lesson or for more information, call area code 575-650-7359. That's 575-650-7359. Join us next week at this same time for another edition of What is Truth? Until next week, we wish you God's richest blessings.